Hey guys, it's Aych coming at you with even more PTR gameplay. And this time is gonna be my favorite deck ever, the first deck I played at the very start of Gwent. It is Discard Skellige, and as you can see in the title, Discard is back. Or at least, in the PTR it is. Because Bran is back to his old form. Not only does he discard 3 units from the deck, which he already did before, but now he also strengthens them by 1, which means adding 1 base strength. So with 3 raiders, which is an average case, let's say, he is an 18-point play. Yep, so Skellige didn't have any tempo before, but now they're the faction of tempo. Then we also have little buffs to Clanderman Pirates, which is nice. Little buffs to this guy, now he grows by 4, and slight change in mechanics. But the main things are some of the cards that have been changed and have really enabled this deck to shine. So, first and foremost, let's have a look at this lovely lady. I don't know why I didn't put the premium in my deck. Let's do that. Let's do that. Premium Ceres. Lovely lady. Here she is. Leading many a Queen's Guard to battle, but not in this deck. So, let's talk about what Ceres does. So she has a counter of 4 when she's in the graveyard, and every time you resurrect a unit, that counter is decreased. And then after it's decreased to 0, she just pops out and rides in on her favorite horse onto the battlefield. So, you may be thinking, H, you only have 2 Priests of Freya here, but Ceres also triggers off your discards. Of your Raiders specifically, your Roach, and your Morkvarg. And Morkvarg resurrects himself at least 3 times a game. So Ceres is going to be jumping out usually a couple of times a game. It's hard to get her out in all 3 rounds in this deck. But she's going to be adding a lot of tempo. And you can even do something like win the first round, have her counter in 1, have Morkvarg resurrect, have her jump out, have Roach jump out, pass and watch your opponent cry. Watching your opponent cry is really the motto of this deck, because, let's talk about the ships. So, the ships have been buffed up to 6 strength, so they're actually good plays on their own and don't lose you out too much tempo, and that is enough to make them crazy! Plus, you have all this discard, you have an extra discard of Dona, you have your favorite Ermion, and you have the guaranteed Pirates and the guaranteed Bran, and in the end, it turns out to be awesome. And one more card that has been changed is Johnny, and I love this card. It is so good. So Johnny reads, when you play him, deploy, discard a card from your hand, including golds, and create in your hand a card of the same color from your opponent's deck. Usually, like previously, you would discard like a silver, maybe a Roach in your Squirtle deck, so you could get rid of it. But now this goes to the graveyard. And you know what gold Skellige wanted in the graveyard? This lovely lady with her red hair and her swinging sword. So, you can discard Ceres with Johnny, and just get an extra 5th gold from your opponent for free. You can discard Ciri with Johnny after she's come back to your hand, or if she's not useful. That's fine too. You can also, there's a couple of silvers you want to discard. I've also discarded Udorek in the last round, when I didn't need a spy. And, discarding Roach can be nice too, if you accidentally draw him, which shouldn't be happening too often with the new mulligans. You can mulligan at the start of round 2 and 3. So anyway, you'll see Johnny in action in these games, and I'm so excited to play. So, this is the PTR for the open beta coming in a few days to the public test realm, and I've been lucky enough to get access to it. And the first thing I did was to see whether discard was good. And it seems like it's pretty damn amazing in this version. So here we don't have a lot of actual discard sources in our hand and only 1 chip, so we'll get rid of a Raider. We'll get rid of Roach. And we should probably get rid of another Raider just to have them in our deck right now. Fortunately didn't draw a Clan Demon Pirate from that, so that's all good. We did unfortunately draw the Ceres, which is a little bit bad. But it's okay, it's okay. We'll deal with it in due course. So here we can copy the ship, or we can copy the pirate captains. Also, we don't really want to line up our things too much for this Harrod the Cripple. But I think we'll start... with the longships. I think he's gonna want this round to go quite long. And we want to play at least 2 or 3. Interesting. We'll see if we can weaken that enough. But because of this new armor mechanic, it's essentially health that doesn't count towards your point values. Because of that, it might be difficult to actually remove these two axemen. But of course, they were nerfed in terms of actual strength. Ooh, interesting. More savage bears. And these are triggering the axemen so much. I think we do play another war longship here just to get like maximum value from all our discards. Yeah, he's gonna have that. This new weather seems good. Let's just put it that way. But we're still gonna push on. You know what else is good? Like what we're doing over here.
And let's drink.
So we're gonna get our 2 raiders and a Morkvarg. And we're gonna attack everything. This does help him trigger things. But once the bears are dead, evidently they don't trigger anymore. And now we're quite a bit ahead. So we might actually need 2 cards to overtake us. We'll see.
By the rates of Morhog.
That's a pretty good card. And of course these will still keep getting buffed. Even though our hand is like kind of conducive to doing other things, we'll play the Syrian, we'll pull out the Roach and see what he does.
Don't make me laugh.
So weird seeing units go into Frost and not drop their strength values. Oh, interesting. So he wants to keep that. So we can probably just do this.
Hey, mate!
Also, what did we get? Oh, we got a Shield Maiden. So, what does it do now? Damage a unit by 3. If it was damaged, summon another Clan Drummond Shield Maiden. That's pretty interesting. Also, he played his Siri. I think we'll pass here, make him go 2 cards down. If he wants to win this round. If he doesn't, we're fine with that too. We have our good friend Udorek. And we're on even cards. So this is pretty good. Despite the new weather triggering the Axemen. Turns out it wasn't actually too triggered by it. Also we get the Ermion, which is wonderful. One of the best cards in the class, of course. And because of the new mulligan, we weren't too worried about the Clan Demon Pirates. Now at the start of round 2 and 3, you can get the mulligan 1 card. Like Nilfgaard used to be able to do in the previous version. And now we'll just... we want this round to go a little bit long. So we'll play the pirates.
Olga Blackhand's taking on new swabbies.
Without ships, this is not as useful, but it's still better. It got buffed by 1. And it still has the veteran ability. Which essentially... They removed all the passives, and now a lot of the Skellige cards just have the passive anyway. Which is super fun. Now, I believe it is time for Ermion. Actually, no. Let's go Udorek first, in case we draw something we want to discard. We'll see. But discarding this is pretty good anyway. Also, we don't necessarily have to use Ermion now, we can use it later. But we do want to get the Ceres down into the graveyard, because the new Ceres has the timer, which decreases by 1 when it's in the graveyard every time you resurrect something. And things like Raiders coming back, and Morkvarg coming back, and the Roach coming back from the graveyard. Do all count as resurrections?
Ugh, gods protect us.
So here we want to discard... We could also save the Ceres for the Johnny. He still has a lot of cards in his deck, so he probably hasn't drawn quite all of his golds. So instead we're gonna discard a Skirmisher and I believe a Priestess. This seems counterintuitive. How counterintuitive is it really? No, I think we'll discard a Skirmisher and a Captain just so we have enough Resurrects to enable our Ceres. And now we'll discard the Ceres with the Johnny and hopefully get something good from his deck. He hasn't even played any golds, so...
Be pleased.
Oodles of Oodle-Rick coming up for both of us.
Peter Piper picked Prince Proximo.
And let's get rid of the Ceres and hopefully grab a gold. Oh, Siri! Well, let's play a Siri and get even more card advantage. That seems pretty good. I mean, he does get to use his Herald right now, but and get ahead, but because we got this Siri, we don't actually care that much about that. And, of course, Warcry coming back does buff our good friend Ceres in the graveyard. So now we'll just play his Siri and be like, haha! It's not even animated. Why did you choose... some people have accounts where they don't have all the animated cards. Do we want to spend another card here and go just one more card up? I think we do. We'll spend the Priestess and it might make him
virgin, mother and crone.
Want to go even further into this round.
Let's not get in the way of
or rather not go further, but spend a good card to beat us because he needs quite a few points. Also, this is how it works. This is sick. It's just like artillery coming from your deck in like very short bursts. I'm glad we were able to mill that with our Udorek. Yeah, still looking at the graveyard. Okay, so we get the Siri back. We can probably get rid of it. It's probably better to put it back in the deck. The only consideration is whether we would have a Madman Logos target, but I think we still have a Madman Logos target. At least I hope so.
No insult.
So now we're gonna Madman Logos. We want to kill the bear. And we'll kill it with a ship. Perfect. And we'll get the Roach back for the Ceres, and now we have exactly enough Resurrects with this Priestess to actually get the Ceres back this round, which is just free 9 gold strength. It's like another Roach that works with a Roach. Oh, he's gonna get my Ceres! Oh, screw him! That's no fun. Well, he lost anyway. Despite that sick move. I love that the new renew allows you to target things in your opponent's graveyard. It's great.
Sit at my table and let's drink.
Playing some more of my very favorite deck, discard Skellige in the PTR for the open beta coming out next week. And this is not a very good hand. We don't have any of our ships. We don't really want all our raiders here right now, and we have 2 priors, so we have to get rid of one. We also need to get rid of the Roach, and then we'll see what we draw. We drew the Siri, that's fine. And we'll get rid of a raider so we can have discard targets from our deck. And we got 1 ship, so that's fine. And also we don't even want that many ships, just because Radovid can easily disable ships with his ability. So we'll start off with the ship, we'll see what he does. Whether he spends the Radovid on that, I don't think he will.
Elves must die!
Yeah, so the Northern Realms faction has been reworked. I still haven't figured out what exactly they do, but it seems like they do a lot of cool things, like this. Like, this armor is gonna stop the economic damage from the War Longship, like, a lot of the economic damage. Do we want to kill any of these with Madman Lugos? We could kill the siege support, but I don't think we have quite enough power in our deck to kill it, just because we'd be discarding something like the skirmishes. So let's take it slow. Let's go with the classic piracy.
Can't let you through elseways.
The armor is really stopping it. It's very good against this kind of pinging deck, and I guess that's why they buffed the longships, because they are weak now because of all this armor going around. Also because bronzes have gotten like just a little bit better.
You idiot.
Honestly, not that much, but just a little.
Bloody non-humans.
This card seems OP, by the way. I don't know what I can do in this position. I guess to just keep playing things and hope for the best. Because, like, their reload ability allows this to activate 3 times. Which is crazy, if you ask me. But we're gonna push on. We're gonna make our brand.
Of course, friend.
And now it's time for the combo. So we have Ceres. We discard that. We have to discard that first, so it triggers off our other discards. And then we'll grab a Markvarg and the last raider, which we so conveniently put in our deck. I see the Ceres is triggering in the graveyard. This is a very nice countdown timer going on right now.
Samaria. That's what matters.
Our opponent is using good cards, which is good for us, because I don't think we're going to be winning this round
Nice mess you've
specifically.
got here. Semper Fi!
He gets his Roach. The Roach. Everything is armored. There's so much armor going on. I think I'm just gonna play the Siri and see what happens. Does get the Roach back, which triggers... actually, doesn't trigger Ceres yet, because the Roach was not resurrected from the graveyard. So we'll see what our opponent does, and I'm not sure whether we can actually win from this position, because this would be 7 plus 6 plus 6. It doesn't even go on the board, so just asserting power. So we do have to pass here. We could have also played the Udalric, but I'd rather save that in case he has a spy, because I think he might have a spy. And there's also, like, many ways we can use this Udalric. For example, if we get the Ceres back, we have a lot of tempo, and we can just play that this round. Yeah, so we want to get rid of one of our raiders, because they're not too useful in this stage of the game, and hopefully we draw something like an Ermion, perhaps. We'll see what we draw. Once our opponent also mulligans. We drew something else. We drew a Priestess, which is still okay, I guess. So he's only used one of his gold, so it's pretty likely that there might be another gold in his deck for our Johnny. So now what Johnny does is you discard a card, and it gives you a card of the same quality from your opponent's deck. So this is it's very good with something like a Siri. It's very good with Ceres as well. And what did he put back in? A bunch of stuff. A bunch of the blue stripes. One of the blue stripes actually, and something else too. Which is very good for him. We'll play our War Longship. It seems like he wants to take this maybe a little long. See what happens. Maybe that's a decoy. More Neneking.
Thank not me.
More Neneking.
Thank Melitele.
What's he putting back? Blue Stripe Scout. And... Decoy. Decoy is a pretty good card. But it doesn't really combo as well as everything else in this deck does. Like, this is so much combo potential here with all of these new cards. So here we're just gonna... I think it's time to Johnny away our Siri.
Do I look like a smudger to you?
Also, Johnny now activates the ship, which is awesome. And we get Kira, which is an awesome unit. It gives you a lot of choice. It can just be 5 plus 12, 17. Or it can do the Quen, or just a very timely Epidemic. What does Epidemic do now? Destroy the lowest units. That's probably not too useful, since we have our Morkvarg, which is going to be coming back as a 2. But the Thunderbolt could get us so much value. Especially with all these agile pirate captains.
I've had men killed for less.
The red of it is going to be BDSMing it up in the house. But that's fine. We do want to stay ahead of that. If And I do think we do that by playing out Udalric.
The gods won't be pleased.
Which may seem counterintuitive, but it gets out a Radar, it gets out a Ceres, and we're actually, like... We're almost there, we're almost there. Like, somehow Udalric just wasn't a spy, but gave us points instead. And we still have a lot of very powerful plays with the priestesses, which are not necessarily that powerful, but everything else is super duper powerful. So here, I think we'll just use one of our priestesses.
We serve her who is virgin, mother, and queen.
Get whatever back, because we want to save our raider for possible resurrection from an Ermion, which we still have. The Ermion's still there. He's chilling out. Hanging out with his buds in the deck. And we do have 2 chances to draw that Ermion now that we have the mulligan. And if we don't, we can once again use this mulligan to get rid of this raid. It really gives us so much flexibility. But I think in this situation, in this situation we still get rid of the raider and see whether we draw the Ermion. The amazing Ermion. It would be nice if they fixed this, but like being able to see your hand while your opponent is mulliganing, but it's fine. It's fine. Operator. That's an interesting card. What do we want to play that on? Well, let's see how many resurrects we need for our Ceres. So we need 4, and we're getting 1 from this by discarding a Raider, and we're getting 1 from the Priestess, and a Roach. So we do actually want to copy the Priestess, just so we can get 1 more resurrect out of this. But maybe we don't do that first. Maybe we'll play the Captain first and see if we can get a lucky Epidemic from Kira.
In blood.
What do you want?
And I don't think these decks do they? Well, whatever. We really can't play around Scorch in this scenario, unfortunately.
Salutations.
Ooh, Epidemic value. I think we'll do this first, and then see what happens, because these are gonna be here, and he might just play a bunch more 5s. See, like that one. That's pretty good. I mean, it gets reloaded. It's pretty good for him too, but Kira is gonna put an end to this madness.
I don't like men who turn down.
I believe the effect happens before the Roach comes out, which is key for this card being actually a good card. And Epidemic for 15 value and the Roach! And it gets the Ceres! So good! Ceres is definitely coming out. Sooner rather than later. It's just like... My opponent is comboing off, but like... I can't help but feel that I'm comboing off a little better. This is a great combo. This is like so much value for a bronze. We'll see how it works out in the grand scheme of things, I guess. I think we should just kill the Reloader, just in case he has even more machines, and we'll of course discard the Raider and resurrect him.
It's boring, just stands in here.
And Ceres is getting close to... I wanted to say climax, but I guess I said it anyway. Ooh! Cadwany Siege platform! That's what it's called now. And this seems like a great deck. And a great combo card. I don't think it's gonna work out too well for our opponent though. It's interesting to me that Operator doesn't have Clash. The new mechanic that essentially means that some cards only work when your opponent hasn't passed yet.
I know what I'm doing when I prescribe something.
Because most other cards give people cards in hand, like Milvar has been changed to have a Clash. Things like the new Avalok, which just draw 2 cards for both players, has also been changed. Lots of reloading going on. And unfortunately all my units are of the same power, so the reloading is very good for my opponent. So now we copy the Priestess just so we can get the extra resurrect from our friend, the Ceres.
Bow before modern Freya.
And he can get a ballista, which is like pretty bad for the rest, but I assume we're gonna be able to get more points value from this. How many times? So it's a 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So 14. But we're getting 1 plus whatever we're resurrecting, plus the Ceres. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for us.
We serve her who
So
is
we'll do
virgin,
this,
mother,
and
and
we'll grab
clone.
one of these. Get it put here.
You wanna pass, you gotta pay.
We'll see if he has
Let you
even
through,
more. Oh, he
Elfways.
can't have more ballistas. That's the end of his 3 ballistas.
Dark clouds.
But he does have John Natalis. And it does do a little bit of damage,
Bow before
but so
modern
does
Freya.
Ceres. So
That's it! Good!
yes, it's coming out, and we win by a respectable lead against a pretty good deck. Of course, all these decks are still in the process of getting tuned, but so is this one. Like, who knows, maybe Operate is secretly bad. Even though it seems secretly OP. Anyway, that was a fun game, and really showcases what this card can do, and how much tempo they can generate in this patch. Like, that was one of the problems previously, that the lack of tempo for Skellige. Then they always fell behind round 1 and couldn't really win it quickly and take control of their passive in the later rounds. But now it's all good.